being paired with Trundle is something that can be very difficult to deal with because it's hard to match tank for tank when your tank's going to have all of his resistances removed. Aatrox's going to be taken off the board. Just a pretty standard one, as the Wukong is going to be the answer. So topside centric outside of the Nautilus, as Viper is thinking about what to grab for Lehends. Now Lehends we know as being more of an enchanter support centric type player, so you can understand why he doesn't necessarily want to play the Nautilus. But as I say that, Thresh is being hovered and will be locked in for a lot of repositioning. I actually think Lantern has gigantic value when you have both Aphelios and the Syndra. Imagine debuting in the LCK on Blitzcrank.
Hey, I wouldn't mind that. I think he'd gain a lot of fans. And it doesn't seem half bad when you consider if you hook Aphelios, he just dies. If you hook Syndra, she just dies. And, I mean, he's getting a lot of value. He can be very good in the lane up against Aphelios. Thresh, I actually do like the pick. Blitzcrank is very niche. We rarely see him. But in certain spots like this, I don't mind it.
It's also not as dangerous when paired with the Kalista. So it does work out very well. A blind Camille would be crazy, but I do like it. Think about the split push potential of this composition out of T1 with Twisted Fate and Camille both in side lanes. And that's playing with your composition face up, but of course you have to once you've locked everything in. And it's going to be Mordekaiser as the option into the Camille. Not sure about that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think it will do decently earlier on, but as you were mentioning, that split pushing power, I think Mordekaiser can kind of get overwhelmed eventually if they're just running down the lane with one or two of them, but certainly will have some value in team fights when it comes to it. There's a lot of squishy members that don't have too much mobility that you could try to lock down. Obviously, Nidalee, in terms of like locking her down and then just essentially blowing her up in a team fight would be great because you also do deny the smite. So don't think it's that bad that they do last pick that one there.
Yep. Kesman, Coach Kim, walk on out. And here we go. This is going to be your pick split push style composition from T1, Blitzcrank, and the Kalista on the bottom side, TF, Nidalee, and then Camille on the top. And I feel like this is largely a finesse composition. You really do need to understand exactly how to make this comp work, but certainly T1 are a team that should be able to figure that one out. And on the side of Hanwha Life, it's like this is a slow-moving juggernaut of destruction. And they do want a team fight. Definitely easier to play. But it certainly does have a lot of nuance, but it is more about the 5v5.
Yeah, that is for sure. Will we see another Aphelios destroy the rift, as we saw earlier on today, is another question. Can they overcome Teddy and Kuri this time down in the bottom side?
Yeah. Also debuting on Blitzcrank, Kuri certainly knows how to fan service. Absolutely fantastic. As Ward goes down very early, and immediately Viper vacates the area. I do like the decision. As, oh man, that's dicey.
That's a pretty popular Ward spot, too. I'm surprised they didn't at least, you know, just walk over, try to deny it.
Yeah, well, that Ward is going to spot Lehends moving on into the enemy jungle.
They ping it. They know, because they know they're spotted. The second he just waltzes into your jungle and puts down a ward, it's like, oh, okay, they know we're here. So
they need to spawn. So Canna's going to move back towards the top side. He's taking Grasp of the Undying in this matchup. Fearing the Mordekaiser makes a bit of sense. He is a gigantic walking suit of armor. Very scary. Does have a lot of heavy metal names, things like that. As once again, if at first you don't succeed, walk over the ward again and again and again. This might just be a play understanding that they do know exactly where the blue buff is, but they also know that there's no way that Hanwha Life can actually respond as CAD, or the Canadian dollar, as you do like to call him.
It's in all caps in the game, so that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Faker did miss one melee minion of XP, so GG. No, but it's
Oh, first hook lands, as Lehends will take a fair bit of damage here as the Ren does come in. Viper will win the trade. Just Aphelios things, I guess. So the minions doing a fair bit of work there as tactical sweep on to Dudu. And Canna actually, he performed very well in the Camille. That was the game that they won, I believe, against DRX.
Yeah.
So a comfort matchup, or at least a comfort pick for him. I don't know whether the Mordekaiser is necessarily the best option here. As level 2 gained by Teddy. Kuri a little bit behind as far as EXP, but does get it the next minion's time.
I think this is... So it's showing their birth dates and also their debut dates. So birth dates are on top, debut dates are on the bottom.
Yep, Cad is very young, by the way, guys. As you can see, as Dudu gets his passive, starts thwacking onto Canna. Not exactly the healthiest of Mordekaisers, though. Still, in control of the wave, but pushed up very far. We'll see whether Cuzz is going to make an entrance. This was the pick that Cuzz was famous for before he even joined Kingzone, well back in the day. He was destroying solo queue on picks like the Nidalee. Although when he joined Kingzone, he was playing Zac almost every game. Yeah.
A different look.
It was.
For that player. And even after joining T1, I feel like only now, finally, is he giving some reign to try some other picks. With the Nidalee and stuff like that coming out here more into the meta. And it seems to be becoming more and more of a a meta pick against the Trundle. People are trying to figure out, how do we deal with this Trundle that is just really annoying to play against. It's not very obvious why he's so good, but he's just so often picked by all of these LCK teams especially.
Yeah, I think he does warp compositions because you do have to respect the subjugate. And not being able to freely pick a tank is quite difficult. As Kuri and Teddy just bouncing around this lane so far. No issues, apart from the fact that Teddy has a 10 CS advantage for some reason. We saw a bit of zoning, level 1 and 2, largely to do with that first hook landing here on Kuri's side. He's also taken Ignite. There is no heal on this bottom lane.
Yeah.
Kuri and Teddy very intent on killing their opponents.
And I feel like almost every Blitzcrank that plays in LCK Pro Play, at least, uses this skin. Is there...
I think every Blitzcrank just uses this skin.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering, is there some reason why that skin might be better than some other skin?
I don't think it's like the iBlitzcrank situation.
Oh boy, here we go.
All right. Rocking a hard place. It's where Dudu is, and there's the gold card. First blood goes over to Canna. Faker easily tanks up the turret. He'll take himself a plate as well. And Mireu's just in the mid lane wondering what the heck he's supposed to do about it. He is ahead 10 CS, but that was a great first gank here, and Faker's not even level 6 yet. So he's going to be able to do that next level without even using a summoner spell.
Yeah, very nice gank, very straightforward. The jungler of Hanwha is down here towards the bottom side. They're going to trade the initial Ocean Drake here off the map for that play because jungle and mid all went top on the side of Team 1. So a bit of a trade, but it gets your split push Camille ahead, and it is just the one Ocean Drake, so I think this is absolutely a win for T1, no question there.
Yep.
So we're going to see, you see they're going to just wait until they have the hard CC. They're not even going to bother taking a chance because they don't need to. It gives you the free spear into the nice leap power, and then Camille can do her thing too. So very straightforward on the kill under the turret.
Yep, Faker now not too far behind as far as EXP as well, as they're going back top lane. Faker doesn't care about that minion wave whatsoever. As the Obliterate comes in, I believe he did have Death Realm, and Canna's in there at the moment, but they just waited out. And the Mordekaiser's dead again.
Yeah, he had Flash that time around, but the second the TP came in right behind him, he's like, well, I can't Flash out of this. But it might have been better to Flash under turret and then Death Realm. So that would be really his only chance of survival there. Definitely rough stuff when you're up against TF. This is part of the reason, one of the many, many reasons why teams have picked up TF in recent times. And Hanwha are going to look for their, well, Okay, never mind.
Interesting.
Seems like
Teddy hadn't actually oath-sworn Kuri yet. As, yeah, the robot. It is the Mad Life skin, by the way, guys. That's largely to do with why a lot of...
You think that's the reason?
I think it might be. You see Mad Life playing with this skin almost every single time. It's very old one. It's been around for a real long time, is that hook. Does go wide. Hook in trade for the Lantern.
그냥 볼게 이거. 이거 안 되고 본다 이거. 잠깐만 아직. 탑 본다. 탑 잡았어. 아래 조심. 천천히. 아 밖에 우리만 있어. 밖에 좋아. 밖에 좋아.
It's only us up on.
잡았어.
outside.
푸른.
Well done. Meanwhile, stealing all of Canna's CS while it's in the death chamber. Nicely done.
He sort of had to because he sacrificed an entire minion wave as he moved up towards top lane. And so it did mean that Faker didn't want to sacrifice his laning experience too much. But easily gets all of that farm. And 1-0-1 means that he's absolutely fine. Moonlight Vigil lands on the bottom side with Gravitum there available. Teddy does have to use his cleanse. And they get 2 summoner spells out of the Kalista. Definitely good news is this is just getting cruel.
Death Realm not up right now.
Yeah, Dudu just not having a good time. Just gets stunned and destroyed all too easily. And Cuzz will take down Shelly in the meantime. It's looking like a bit of a shellacking to start off with here, Valdanalist.
Yeah, and there's not really a lot of analysis that I can say about that either. It's just zero help on the top side. They go for this gank down the lane with level 5 Trundle onto a Kalista that has Flash and Cleanse, right? Roots aren't going to do it. You either need to get the hook into, you know, the Gravitum, into multiple CCs to make that work. And even then, it's kind of risky. Same time, you're kind of leaving your Mordekaiser out to dry after he also already died twice. And he's pushing up a little bit too far as well. Not really giving enough respect to the current lane state. But now he has, well, he could have set up a nice little freeze for, you know, to really draw in Faker and Canna to get on in there. And I feel like I have to say it because LS isn't here. But what is the point of pushing that back? Because
then you definitely can't go near
then you're totally left out on an island if you push that lane out. So
well,
I don't know about that.
He took the Crux. That was what he decided to do.
Great. He could have done that while, you know, the lane was pushing into him.
Yep. PS, Destiny is available once again. The Mordekaiser doesn't have a turret. Faker can easily move up and take that one down if he would like to. However, Hanwha Life do make their way into the T1 jungle. Cuzz here as well, trying to make sure that his chickens don't get stolen. And they don't, the big one at least. As T1 have a 3,000 gold lead. Teddy by himself here, as Kuri's making his way back into this lane, but looks like Teddy's not too worried about it. And level 7 now gained, Blade of the Ruin King, pretty close. And Cad's going to come down and see what he can do.
Yeah, Hanwha Life have this, you know, the early game has not been treating them very well because of the overall oppression of the Twisted Fate and the lack of response from Hanwha Life. But they did get that first Ocean Drake, so if they can rush this down and try to get out of there without losing too much and they can extend into potentially getting a soul, maybe then they might be able to come back in this one. It's one of their, you know, best bets for the current game state, which is obviously not very good for them right now. So it is going to be that Mountain Soul that is on the cards here, as T1 didn't necessarily get into position to hard answer, I suppose, or counter the Dragon Take, and they will just give that one over to Hanwha. Not too concerned.
Yeah, like it. Dudu actually walking all the way down there will have his teleport available in a couple of seconds, but that's a Trinity Force, guys. We're 11 minutes into the game. Canna has a Trinity Force. I don't know. Hanwha Life need to do something desperately.
They need to do something.
Yeah,
they need to Dududunga something for sure right now. That's their only chance.
Yeah, because Dudu is definitely a bit of a don't at this point.
Oh.
Not working. That's what happens. You know, Mordekaiser is a pretty gankable champion, especially pre-6. But once he falls behind, I mean, what else is he supposed to do? I guess is the question. As Faker trying to avoid the orbs. He's not too worried about the situation. Rod of Ages is already completed. As Canna is pushed underneath an inner turret now. And Kuri is just lying in wait, ready for a potential rocket grab.
Wow. You can ward that brush from there?
Yeah, that's cool.
I actually didn't know that. I feel like I should know that. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like that actually did reach the brush. That's a nice little ward. Right up against the wall.
Interestingly enough, T1 have about 1 billion wards. On the bot side of the map, Mountain Drake isn't up for another 3 minutes time, however. And we'll see whether that just means that they're trying to make sure Teddy can get as much farm as safely as possible until his flash comes back up again, or what that is. But I have a feeling that T1 aren't going to be giving away another Drake without a fight. As Death Room comes down, Canna actually not surviving too well outside of that. But now, in comes Cad. There's the bad news for Canna. Easily, Cad just walks on over. So a little bit of an overextension there from Canna. Cost him his life.
Yeah, kind of interesting. I think if you see the Mordekaiser getting that aggressive, you have to know that Trundle's coming or Syndra's coming, so I think you should save your hook shot. And then Dudu pushes out for some reason. I don't know. He's obsessed with pushing the lane, and he is going to give another kill over after... Oh, well, I guess he didn't get the kill, so he didn't reset his gold, but...
He was showing Canna that he could overextend better.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think you can overextend? Watch this.
Yeah. It's probably not the best thing to be the best at.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just all about the competition, though. And you just get a little bit overwhelmed.
Sure.
As Cuzz, let's see who wins this popcorn chicken fight, as it somehow goes to Cuzz. Finds himself the spear onto Cat as well. As Faker, he's got his Sheen, and he's just looking to get to work on an inner turret in the top lane. As maybe Faker's joined the competition as well.
He is now that lane pusher, although it does look like they might switch it up now. It's 2 levels up.
That sidestep was really nice.
Yeah.
Scanner's going to turn up as well. Hextech Ultimatum at the ready. Didn't actually use it in that last fight. Cuzz is 2 levels ahead of Cad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Cad spent a lot of the early game hanging around bot side. It's part of the reason why he was able to focus down the Drakes and get them the 2 Drakes, but it did mean that he wasn't participating in a lot of kills and lost a bunch of farm. So he hook shots here, and I'm thinking, I don't know, you gotta know that someone's coming at this point if Dudu's getting this aggressive. But
I mean, he was in the death realm, so...
But you can wait until you're out, potentially, because that might be one of your only chances to get out. But I do understand that line of thinking, too, because he's really far ahead, and he's like, well, maybe I could trade onto him or something, but either way, it does end up being the kill given to the Trundle. Spares him a little bit of the blushes of the way that this jungle matchup has been going.
Yep, Shelly and Shelly both collected here by Cuzz. 15.5 minutes into this one, and T1 retain close to 3,000 gold lead. Faker is very close to a Lich Bane as well. He is very, very rich. As we have a look at the gold, he's only ahead 700 over Mireu, but Mireu was sitting in that mid lane just farming things out. Currently has close to a 20 CS lead. It doesn't matter. It's not actually going to put you in the lead.
Yeah. You mentioned how T1's comp, it requires a bit more finesse to pilot. You need to be doing some small things very well, and that means a lot of roaming early game, a lot of you know, ganking side lanes and stuff like that, at least in the early game for a comp like this. They did it really well, whereas, okay, just gonna flash away from that one. I feel like Camille was just trying to, you know, get the basics down. They're like, okay, I'm a jungler, I'm going to get the dragons for my team, and they kind of let a lot of other things fall by the wayside, as T1 has been controlling the map for the most part outside of this dragon pit. But as you mentioned, they're not going to let this one go down without a fight.
Yeah, remember this is a split push comp. That's why you see Faker here on the bottom side, just destroying turrets while the rest of the team is milling about. And if Hanwha Life don't make quick decisions, they need to be decisive in this game. Otherwise, things will just slowly fall away from them. This is going to be a 50-50, though, as there's the Destiny. In goes Kuri. We'll see who steals it, and it is going to be Cuzz. As Kuri goes in, 4-man knock-up, and Teddy doing so much damage. Kuri is going to fall down, but the Mordekaiser is already dead. Canna secures that kill, and yeah, it's 1-for-1, but no soul point available for Hanwha Live. As T1 pick up their first trade.
Yeah, perfect timing to collapse there. They get on in, and the spear, I think, actually, was what did it for Cuzz. Maybe he was the one who smited it right before the spear. Either way, a good combo for him to steal the Drake. So we're going to get another look at it here. He just positions himself right in the pit where there is no pressure. And
wow, yeah, it was, I think.
Yeah, it was his smite. So we didn't even see a smite out of Canna. And then Kuri that was a great play, right? Throwing himself in, but the thing is the rest of his team was focusing down the Mordekaiser because that's who they like to bully, not the rest of the team.
But also at that point, like the Mordekaiser, I guess he's 0-5, so he doesn't really do so much. So I guess my point is kind of moot, but dealing with him is definitely good, and distracting the rest of the players is certainly also positive as Viper steals away his own red buff. And I say steal because I feel like the jungle on Hanwha Live's side of the map does not belong to them anymore.
Yeah. I think if you're T1 here, the main thing you want to focus on is getting another kill onto the Mordekaiser. That would be my main word of advice. I think 5 kills on the rookie isn't enough. If you really want to get in his head, maybe 6 or 7 is a bit better.
You need to give him the full Nuguri treatment and see how he comes out of it. Nuguri passed that test. He seems to enjoy dying multiple times and is still a happy boy. Goes into the next game completely unfazed. As Teddy takes a few extra chakrams that he didn't necessarily want. Faker over here will just collect his blue buff. But you can see the SKT vision. Oh. How sad. Yeah. It's all right.
Wow. He's just going to give up on that. He's like, actually, never mind. I'm just going to go top.
Well, I mean, that mini wave was about to die to the turret, so it does mean that he gets to extend the duration of that blue buff. It also delays the next one, so that's horses. Dudu is under a turret. That is definitely good news. And Death Realm does deter people from diving him, because of course then you have to deal with a guaranteed tower and Mordekaiser versus 1. Faker's got 8 stacks on his Rod of Ages. Lichbane is completed. Got massive stacks of control wards in the back pockets of the T1 players, and it looks like they're not even that pressured to put them down because Hanwha haven't been able to sweep their vision for a very long time. It's that suffocation that we talk about. You can see Faker's on the top side, you've got Camille on the bottom side, and Faker and Canna are just going to split push this game to the point where they're going to be so far ahead in gold. As T1 will just take down turrets, they'll keep getting side lane farm. TF cheats when it comes to side lane farm anyway and gets way more money for it. And Faker, of course, is a very good player, so he rolls very high when it comes to the stack deck.
True. He's getting a lot of gold there for sure.
It's very similar to the redemption effect of a Zoe player.
Yes.
If you're a good Zoe player, you get it at levels 4 every single game.
Yes. Also, Proto Belts, Ignites, good stuff like that.
Yes.
Not Ghosts. I mean, Ghosts, you know.
You get Super Soakers as well.
Yeah,
Lots
true. There's a big difference, by the way, if you guys, you know, we were harping on, actually, about the Aphelios effect in the first series, but that was against a composition that didn't really play around Aphelios. They wanted to play, like, directly into him with stuff like Graves and Leona, and it didn't go very well for Fed Aphelios. And Viper sitting here, he had a relatively good laning phase that, in the very early game, it wasn't great, but now they're feeding him a bunch of farm. He does have 1 kill, one of the 2 that his team has, and you're thinking, oh, maybe the Aphelios effect is going to come in here. But this is a totally different composition that he's playing against. He has to go against split pushing. T1, I don't think, is ever going to try to go for a straight-up 5v5. They have the ability to pick with Blitzcrank, but I don't think they're going to be, you know, sending Camille into the back line, and, you know, that just doesn't, that's not the identity of their composition.
It's a split push gun, and that's exactly what works. Like you were saying, against the Aphelios. I think it's genius to, instead of saying, well, I guess we'll ban this and that's going to be our strategy, instead understand exactly what the champion's supposed to do and capitalize on it, right? I think that it's really, really cool. So thank you to Afrika and Team Dynamics for putting the idea into Hanwha Life's head. You just pick Aphelios and then you win. It's not how that one works. They do need Nautilus, so unfortunately didn't have that, as Destiny has been popped. Looks like T1 still want to deny Soul Point. Canna here towards the bottom side. And there's the Destiny. Faker gets down south of the Dragon. Wildcard starting to do a bit of damage here, as we'll see whether Cuzz can get another steal. There's the Fate's Call as Mireu flashes onto Cuzz and takes him down. But the Drake is going to reset as Hanwha Life lose 2 in the process.
Pretty wonky there. I think that was some... that was like a crazy pull. Yeah.
Well, Canna actually just teleported up there, so he was in the last fight. But that's definitely an ambitious teleport. They do get the teleport out of Dudu, though.
Yeah. He's like, maybe I have to help around the Dragon. Oh, well, maybe not. I'm just going to TP up here with the lane that I set up to potentially take down this turret.
Yeah, also means that T1 guarantee this Drake because Dudu teleported. I think it's actually a brilliant idea for Canna to get up there, because as soon as they use the teleport to stop the inhibitor turret going down, that they guarantee that they're not going to be getting back for a potential Drake fight.
That's...
okay.
You can do that, by the way. The Fate's Call with the pull.
Yep.
And it's like, oh.
The ultra reposition. Unfortunately, you know, having a Syndra right on top of your Kalista is probably not necessarily what you want ideally.
Yeah.
As Faker avoiding some orbs, gets rid of the first one, now lands himself the gold card, and Hanwha Life realize that they're not going to be able to chase after good old Twist of Fate with his Nikes on. His cowboy boots, man, they're pretty good.
For sure. He's just having fun with the Syndra in the side lane. TF, not very weak to the Syndra, but players or champions such as Nidalee and Kalista, as you were mentioning, can sometimes succumb to the insane burst damage that she does have. I do like the stopwatch pickup from Cuzz after he just got bombed in the last one, just to make sure he can survive in the next fight.
Does have his Rod of Ages, started to stack a little bit earlier than the 30-minute one that Spirit put together. You have to remember, Spirit won that game, so it must have been a good idea.
Yes.
Baron has been scouted.
Showed it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's...
I've always been told that results-based analysis is the best kind of analysis.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right. T1 clearing out vision once again. Just keeping this suffocation line, basically moving up the streetlights. Sort of what it goes. Like they go each block further and further forward. And it means that they know exactly where everyone is at all times. This bottom side is working out relatively well here for T1. Sorry, for Hanwha Life. As far as ward positioning, but the blue buff is something that Mireu is not going to be able to go anywhere near, even if it is just Teddy in the area, because they just don't have the information that they want. Faker secures that very comfortably and then moves back towards the split push once again. And you know what? This is actually just, it's such a treat to watch T1 play like this after how messy the DRX series was.
Yeah, they've certainly cleaned things up. The early game was crystal clean, and Hanwha really didn't have much of a response to it, so that's part of the reason why T1 are so far ahead in this one, and they will never, again, fight Hanwha Life in a straight-up fight. That is just never going to be on their agenda. Faker is level 16, by the way, in the side lane. 25 minutes.
He has a 2-level advantage when, at the beginning of the game, Mireu had basically a free lane to go up against for most of it, because Faker was just in a side lane. Now Faker is, of course, also 26 CS in the lead. And that has to do with the fact that T1 are just playing the side lanes way better than Hanwha Life. And their composition does this, right? Hanwha Life are just forced to play to the beat of T1's drum, as Faker is put in the death realm for a little while. Exhaust comes through, as Faker does have flash if he'd like it. He's going to use his Zhonya's first, and Death's Grasp not going to be quite enough. As he's got Destiny, Teddy comes in. They want to take down Mireu first. Very smart, actually. And then Faker jumps in on top of the Mordekaiser and finishes off the solo kill.
Yeah. TF is not easy to kill. Like, he builds defensively, and we talked about his levels. He's
and he runs really fast.
He runs so fast. And he stuns you. It's not easy. He's got Zhonya's. He's got flash. He runs really fast. He's going to avoid all your skill shots. And it's not going to be easy. He's going to buy a lot of time for his team to get over to the split push lane and to help him out. And Faker did a great job of surviving for that amount of time. Hanwha Life kind of grasping at straws with that pick.
All right, well, Viper's actually able to get a fair bit of work done here as the sentry turret also onto Kuri doing a ton of damage as Viper with exactly the right weapons to take down robots does so.
That seems balanced.
Yeah. Just
like
locks down the old Calibrum crescendo combo. And we saw that in the last time. Let's have a look at what Faker does here.
Said I'm Death Realm.
나 이거 죽은 거 같아, 죽은 거 같아.
Said I think I'm dead.
I think I died. Yep.
본다, 이거 본다.
Watch this. I'm going in. Gets the kill. Nice dodges here by Viper.
Yeah, that sidestep on the hook was actually really clean.
Yeah, and that gets Kuri in a position to get 200 years.
Yep.
Years.
200 years from 200 yards away.
Yeah. Well, more like 800,000 yards. It's the way it feels when it happens to you.
Hey, at least it's not unlimited range anymore.
Yeah.
It's sort of along the lines of, like, you remember Twisted Fate, his Destiny Gate used to be his E. You know, it was on like a 20-second cooldown. You could just bounce around the map.
Seems fair.
Yeah, super balanced. As Dudu's getting solid underneath his turret here by Canna. And he's going to be able to lock that one down successfully. Somehow Aphelios stole the Mountain Drake.
Okay.
Not sure how that happened, but...
Aphelios versus the world.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. As the split push is on, though, guys. And this is what happens. You just lose everything because T1 are not really interested in team fighting.
Yeah, it's like nice Mountain Drake. That's not Mountain Soul. Even if it was, I don't even know if they would be too concerned with it.
They're 11,000 gold in the lead.
Mountain Soul doesn't give extra resistances and shields to your buildings, right? So it's like, or your minions, right? That would take away a little bit of power from the split push comp, and that's just not the way it is. So they easily will trade that one for 2 inhibitor turrets. And to bring out an old Papa Smithyism, we almost have a reverse legendary player. Dudu, poor Dudu, 0 and 7. He is very close. In fact, 1 death away.
He almost has to go for it now. I mean, what else is there to go for in this game? I feel like that's probably it. As Faker is very close to full build, does have his rapid fire cannon. Actually love that rapid fire cannon on mages such as Twisted Fate or Bard for the ultra long range CC auto attacks. Very cool. As Dudu puts himself in the Death Realm, I think is what we're saying here. What's better, Death Realm or the Hextech Ultimatum? And I think we know what the answer to that is, especially at this stage of the game.
Well, he had 2 choices. Either he could back off and give the inhibitor and try to join Mountain Drake fight that they somehow force, which, by the way, they're not great at forcing fights. T1 has identified that they have some pick potential, and they're just avoiding it at all costs. I mean, the Thresh has done 0 in this game.
Yeah.
As has the Trundle, it feels like. And...
well, now Canna...
it was either that or you Death Realm under turret and
oh my god, he used the Death's Grasp as a taxi to get closer to the Mordekaiser and the inhibitor. That was genius.
Wow, 5-hit.
That is the kind of play that I would want. Destiny is going to show T1 exactly where Hanwha Life are, and this is called only having bad decisions to make. As Dudu's just going to get murdered underneath Nexus turrets! What the heck, Canna?
Oh man. I actually feel bad for him.
Oh my goodness.
0 and 8 now has been achieved, I suppose, as Canna is not being very nice to the rookie player here from Hanwha Life. Puts him in his own death chamber, and they get the Baron as well. T1 are just crushing this team.
I think that loss to DRX really did affect T1. And a little bit earlier than they were affected by their losses in the spring season. Remember, it was actually a week of not exactly the best, as Mireu...
bullying is not okay, okay?
I think I've seen this like montage video of, look at this broken build
He even
on YouTube,
emoted
you know?
him.
Well, Faker's going to get Moonlight Vigiled. Cuzz wishes he had a little bit of extra range. Viper says, I don't need any extra range. My range is unlimited. As we'll see whether the god of the bottom lane is going to be enough to save Hanwha life. But honestly, the game is being won entirely around the location of the Aphelios. And he's being made redundant, honestly. As, oh, he's trying to go for it. That was actually very cute.
I think if you time it perfectly, you can throw yourself out the back of the Fate's Call as well, out behind the Kalista, and bring the gun all the way back. I'm not sure if you have enough time.
I've never seen that one. I have, of course, seen the original combo, but that one would be super cool. Imagine. As we are going to have a look at these top lane minis. There we go. Just have a look at the replay. Mireu.
Yeah, he was on vision as he was killing.
Oh no, he's just outside of the brush. Oh, that's what feels real bad.
Yeah, I mean, he saw him go in the brush, and he was like, okay, you're dead. The thumbs up, too. Canna just has no chill, man. He's like, he put his enemy top laner to 0 and 8, and also he's got to emote the rookie mid laner.
Not very fair. That being said, I think Canna and Mireu probably play with each other a lot in solo queue. Probably started at similar times as well. As I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Mireu started on Hanwha Live about a year or two ago, something like that. And we're just going to see the Trundle die very, very quickly. Canna's found his way into the backline. Viper is still alive, but I don't think there's enough years ever anywhere that's going to save them. As Faker makes sure that Mireu is not able to get any work done with the ultimate. No one's dead on the side of T1, and they kill turrets extraordinarily quickly. Lehends goes into his stopwatch, but he will be taken down. Mireu also, that was incidental damage, I guess, as Viper Captain Jack cleanse, but honestly, it just does not matter what this Aphelios does because the Nexus has been destroyed. T1 with an absolute blowout.